Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the big top. The circus known as CommentForce is about to commence, so buckle yourselves in, put some popcorn in your ears, hot chocolate up your nose, and the Switch in front of your face, because this is CommentForce number 38. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Zach. I've got Gabe here. Third chair is empty.
Please don't do any of those things that Zach said you should do. Do not put anything in your nose or your ears. Both of those are bad.
Gabe, it was more of like a metaphysical, like, in theory. It wasn't like a demand.
I don't know. I think someone has chocolate in their nose right now because of you.
Please. No, do not love your body with food. Love your body with hugs and sign language.
Okay.
In the meantime, thanks so much for all the positive feedback on the last episode. It wasn't the most viewed CommentForce, but it seemed to have a lot of positive vibes around it. Some people said it was, in fact, the best CommentForce they ever heard. So thanks. We're getting better as we get older. We're approaching 40. We're not there yet. Thankfully, we still have 2 more shows before we turn terribly old. Sorry to anyone that's over 40 that listens to it. By the way, if you are over 40 and you listen to this, please comment. We will specifically seek out your comments for next week. In the meantime, though, Gabe, how was your week?
It was good and bad. Good because I got to play a really good third-party port on Nintendo Switch, Skyrim, which we'll probably touch on during the comments. And bad because I saw Justice League and I really hated that movie. And I love Batman and DC in general, but Justice League was so horrible. I hated it. But other than that,
I saw someone say on Twitter that it was worse than Batman vs Superman.
Fact. That's a fact. Oh,
Yikes.
and again, when I say this is my opinion. I don't speak for everybody. Well, to me, it's a fact. It doesn't have to be a fact to you. You guys can like it. I don't mind it.
Okay, I had an ice cube just thrown at me. Sorry, that was really, I didn't think that was actually going to happen. I'm being iglooed from afar. Anyhow, my week was pretty cool. It's about to get a lot cooler because I just got a cool new Switch game that's coming out next week. I am playing Battle Chef Brigade, which will be awesome to check out. And, Gabe, I'm seeing a movie of my own this week. It's an early screening of the Pixar movie Coco, which is far more my speed.
Yes, that's probably better than Justice League.
Probably. You know what else would be better than Justice League?
Comments,
baby. Thanks so much for all your comments this week. We love them so much. Keep your thoughts, your theories, your ideas, your questions, your complaints, and even your riddles coming at us. First up, we have Stelios Kamakaris, who says, do you guys know if Nintendo plans to port any more Wii U games on the Switch? I just got my Switch with Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and Mario Kart 8, and I'm having a blast, but I'd very much like to play some of the Wii U titles I missed out. I never owned a Wii U, and I'm dying to play Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Pikmin 3, Yoshi's Woolly World, Mario 3D World, Super Smash Bros., and Mario Maker. And I wanted to bring this up because I think it's interesting. When the Switch first came out, we thought we were going to get a load of Switch ports. A load of Wii U ports. And that has kind of just faded into the background as we have so many new Switch titles. Do you think that the era of Wii U ports is over before it even really began? Or do you think 2018 will see the launch of stuff like Super Mario Maker for Switch, maybe even Smash Brothers for Switch, perhaps even a Donkey Kong Country double pack?
I think that it is a very strong possibility that we do get some of these. I feel like Nintendo for year one just had a lot of things ready, and they spaced them out as best they could, but Pokken was also released, and that was also a port. So it's not like we've had only Mario Kart. Mario Kart sold really well, Pokken not as well, but I'm sure they were still happy with that. So I feel like going forward, maybe we do get like 1 or 2 of these a year, just these Wii U refreshes. It makes sense because not a lot of Wii U's were sold, and year one of Switch is probably going to have just as many consoles out there than Wii U had in the lifetime. So I feel Mario Maker and Smash are the big ones that I think we do get. Those seem likely.
I feel like Mario Maker still happens. I mean, that game still has a lot of love. I would love to see it. In terms of the rest, they are planning to push so many Switches. Switches.
Switch I. No, Switch I.
Switch-O. Switcheroos. They're planning to push so many Switcheroos. I feel like that is going to be mostly propelled by new titles. And the more and more new titles, and the farther and farther we get from Wii U, the less and less we need them. I also think that Virtual Console plays a decent role in this. How extensive is that? How far does it go? Does it go all the way up through GameCube? Will they eventually sell more? Who knows? But I'm kind of on your side, Gabe. I don't think we get many, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a few. I really thought we were going to get a Wonderful 101 port or a Bayonetta when Kamiya was teasing all that stuff in Platinum. That just, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Just wait for that January Direct. We'll get a bunch of news.
There we go.
All right. After that, though, we can move on to the next comment, which comes from Trent Welch, one of my favorite commenters. I see him all the time. He says,
"You just like that beautiful face."
Do we know who that is? Or are we not hip enough to know who that is?
We're not hip, Gabe.
Okay. Trent, though, says, "I swear, if PUBG wins, ... Breath of the Wild better win." And I wanted to talk about this here because the nominees for the Game Awards 2017 were released, and amongst those were Breath of the Wild, Horizon, Super Mario Odyssey, PUBG, and Persona. Those were the 5 nominees. And to me, I feel Breath of the Wild deserves it. Super Mario Odyssey is so close. I'm not mad if they gave it to either one of the Nintendo games. I'm also not mad if they gave it to Horizon. I didn't play Persona, can't speak on that. PUBG, I've played well over 100 hours of that game, but I do not think that it deserves Game of the Year. It's not a full game. It's an early access. There's a lot of reasons, and you can disagree with me. That's totally fine. I do love PUBG, but I just wanted to get your take. I know that you don't like PUBG either, but I guess more, hey, do you think that a Nintendo game is going to win Game of the Year at the Game Awards?
Yeah, I do think a Nintendo game is going to win. I think this is difficult, and this year maybe it is more exacerbated than ever before. What is the criteria? What are we voting on? Are we voting on the most progressive game? Are we voting on the biggest game changer? Are we voting on the best game, the most played game, the most influential game? What is Game of the Year? Or does it not matter? It's just what your personal interpretation is. Because if it's best game, I think that's a very different winner than most impressive game or most influential game or biggest game. So
can I cut you off? What do you think the most influential game of the year is?
PUBG.
Okay, all right. I wanted to make sure.
I would say that the most impressive game is Horizon Zero Dawn.
What would you say the best game is? It's so tough. And why do you think
it's so tough? I mean, again, like to me, like you could even argue that Zelda is the most impressive or the most progressive. But I don't think that Zelda is the, like, gameplay mechanic-wise the best. So I guess it's like, how are you going to evaluate what Game of the Year even really means?
For anyone unfamiliar, the way that this is going to be picked is a whole bunch of people in the industry are going to vote. And that's just how it's going to work. It's not one person picking it, and it's not the masses picking it. Although people do get to vote in other categories for the Game Awards. But this one specifically, it's going to be a quote-unquote group of experts. And that's what they'll go with. I'm scared PUBG's going to win. Even though, grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. I'm happy.
Who cares?
Yeah, like, I mean, you like what you like. It doesn't matter. But I feel like Breath of the Wild and Mario both kind of deserve this more than PUBG. And PUBG, I think, is the real, like, contender here. Horizon is amazing, though. I love Horizon. So I wouldn't be mad at that either.
We'll talk on it more, I think. But to me, just my quick take, I think Zelda is the more impressive game. I think Mario is the better game.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just me. And if Horizon was made by Nintendo, would it take the crown? That's kind of just a tough one. So let us know, I guess, your thoughts on that. Swerve says, it kind of sucks that more than half the indie games that were planned for an earlier release on Switch took longer than expected, and some aren't even released yet. One of the main reasons I wanted the Switch was these indie games, and they haven't had any announcements yet. Companies shouldn't make false promises or get people excited for things they can't commit to. Also, please don't tell me that there are other good indies on Switch. I can see the eShop. I know they are there, but they aren't the ones I was looking forward to.
I'm curious what he was looking forward to.
Well, I think it's probably pretty simple. We go back to that first Indies, things like Flipping Death, things like Pocket Rumble, things like Wargroove. Virtually, I don't want to say every, but many of the games from that initial show are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, Hollow Knight got pushed to next year, and
Celeste got pushed. Towerfall has not made an appearance. Again, Flipping Death and Wargroove, Pocket Rumble, even Ukulele.
Sure.
Very few are there. There still are plenty of titles, and he does reference this. They might not be the ones he wants, but there's still plenty of great indies. It is interesting that so much of that kind of just got swept under the rug. It's like, oops.
And this is semantics, but what company promised this?
Yeah,
like
sure.
The word promise is, false promises. I don't know if you were like falsely promised. And we won't talk about it here, but video game development is difficult in a lot of different ways. We saw this huge kerfuffle with Battlefront 2 this week. Companies don't have it as easy as you think they do. They want to make sure to make the most money because at the end of the day, it's still a business and they're in it to make money. These companies don't just make great games for you to enjoy them and, oh my God, like that's it. Now let's not make it. Like they have to worry about when they're releasing, what they're releasing against. And there's a lot that goes into it. So like, I know that I'm rare when it comes to this, but I personally don't mind it when a game gets pushed back. Like, I'll play it whenever it comes out. There's a ton of other stuff to play in the meantime. And Swerve, we get it. Those don't appeal to you. But for me, at least, and for a lot of other people, just because of the comments that we see, there's so much to play on Switch that, again, for me, it's not a big deal. Swerve, I'm sorry that the ones that you want aren't out yet, but hopefully we get them soon.
Yeah, and I would like to know what some of the reasons are. Is it monetary? Is it just bad luck? Is it support from Nintendo? Is it difficulty in learning the development platform? I think it is odd to me, someone who doesn't have a whole lot of intimate knowledge of game development, that Bethesda is able to put out Skyrim, Doom, and Wolfenstein 2 before some of these companies can put out their indie that they talked about when the Switch launched. Like, that just seems weird to me.
We know a little bit. We know Pocket Rumble, like it ended up being too buggy and the game wasn't where they wanted it to be, and they thought that they could get it all sorted by a certain time, and then they didn't. So we know with Pocket Rumble that's what happened. Ukulele, similar case. They were having trouble porting the game over. They've said that.
I just think that's weird a little bit.
Sure, but know. Way small teams compared to like Bethesda, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But regardless, Swerve, I hope you get the games you want soon. Paper Nintendo, I don't know why that made me chuckle, says, today is Shigeru Miyamoto's birthday. Let's all celebrate. Happy birthday. 65 years old.
November 16th.
65 years old.
That's a good age, and the guy's still going strong, still doing so much.
Very, very, very strong. So yes, belated happy birthday to Mr. Miyamoto, and may he have many, many more.
Absolutely. Next up, we have Christopher Toro, who says, no paid services. I actually want my games with no monthly strings attached. Would you rather pay $10 to play everything for 1 month, or $5 to $20 for each game to own forever? It's a no-brainer. Also, if someone bought virtual games or games on the Virtual Console before, it should carry over. And this was in response to our discussion about what Nintendo could learn from Xbox and how we kind of were thinking a Game Pass might be a cool addition to their online offerings.
I don't understand Christopher's train of thinking here. He says he wants to own it forever. And let's talk about past Nintendo consoles. Is your Wii U still like plugged in? Like the stuff that you bought on Virtual Console, like yes, you technically still own them because they're like on a hard drive. But are you ever gonna play those things again? Like for me and you, I'm never gonna go plug my Wii U again to play like any of this stuff. I'll wait. If it comes to Virtual Console, cool. If not, maybe years down the line, sure. I personally would rather have the monthly subscription, and I know that not everybody thinks that way, and I know I might be unique in that thinking, but I don't care to own it forever, because when I want to play a game, I want to play it, and then I'll forget about it, and, I already played it. I don't sit here and replay games over and over and over. That's not my style of gaming, and plus, there's so much coming to the Switch constantly, so we just can't do that.
Right. And, I do get what he's saying, and I think a lot of people made comments about this, about how, like, hey, like, owning forever versus owning temporarily, and that's a big issue today for games. Like the idea that the service could go away, the service could disappear, the service could become lackluster. And so I am hearing these thoughts, and I am appreciating these comments and thinking, what, like maybe there is something to that. And in a perfect world, we'd have Nintendo's full catalog and be able to cherry pick how we want, and they'd also offer a subscription for those who just kind of wanted to dabble. But at this point, we have no idea what Nintendo's going to do.
Yeah. And there's conflicting opinions on this, and either one is cool. After that, though, we can move on to Fight Night 14. Says, NBA 2K18 and LA Noire boxes turned out ugly because the internet required part. Damn it, I hope they settled the cartridge size problem, because this will turn off some gamers.
It's a fair point, man. I unboxed the LA Noire box on the channel, and I can't believe that is such a notable square, and like it's so big on the box and distracting. It's something that should be a sticker on the cellophane, not something that is, as this guy says, uglying up the actual box art.
It does mess up the box art for sure. I don't think there's any debating that. And to talk about the cartridge size thing a little bit, like, don't publishers have the option to get the more expensive cartridges with more space, but they do cost more, so it kind of cuts into their profit margin. So not a lot of them want to do it. I think that's what the reasoning behind that is.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on the specifics of that, but it would be good if Nintendo was able to up the maximum size so we didn't have to even deal with any of this BS.
Yeah, I mean, we have heard that there are bigger cart sizes that just not every company wants to use it, again, just because they cost more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your turn.
Is it my turn?
Your turn.
I'm not used to this 2-person rotation.
Your turn.
Next up, Aiden Quinn says, playable 60 FPS game on a portable machine for $300. The only other way I remember doing this, though not comfortably, was upon release on a gaming laptop. A major win for this thing. And it's speaking about how
Skyrim.
Skyrim can run so well on such tiny machine.
Rocket League. I confused the games.
Rocket League. Okay, Rocket League can run so well on a portable machine and at a pretty good price as he compares to a laptop, which would cost, 4 to 7 times more.
I want to talk. The reason I picked this comment, I wanted to talk about Rocket League on Nintendo Switch just for a little bit. I don't know if you've had a chance to play it, but I streamed it, and there's so much that's like really cool about it. But there's a couple of things that I wish that they would change. Number one, if I'm playing with you, Zach, and you're playing on PlayStation 4 and I'm on Switch, and I'm playing
right.
and I'm using the Samus or Mario cars, you can't see those. Like you see some other car. So like that's kind of unfortunate. The split screen does like cut that down. The frame rate, I mean. And the resolution as well. But you're right, Aiden. 60 FPS as far as Rocket League goes. Amazing for a $300 console. And it maintains that frame rate even on a handheld and, of course, on docked as well.
Yes. I like this next comment, Gabe.
Dylan Sheehy says, where's Pikmin 4? Please don't be Bandai Namco developing Prime 4.
Oh, jeez.
Pikmin 4's I feel like that game's like ready. Like I think it's done. They're just waiting for like the right time to release it. I think when we get an announcement, we get it relatively soon afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like, hey, a surprise, like, oh, all of a sudden it's announced, like you said, at a direct, and like, hey, it'll be out this summer, something of the sort.
Yes, and Bandai developing Prime 4, that came from the rumors that were sprung this week about like Soul Calibur coming to Switch and things of that nature. We don't know that it's true, so let's not freak out quite yet. And even if it like is true, I have faith that Nintendo will deliver quality. Like their hand will be in it somehow. It's not like they're just going to tell them, "Here, you go make this," and then.
Oh no, they will definitely have
quality
a significant
control will be made. Yeah,
a significant influence on that game and making sure that they ensure it's a quality product. They know how much people have wanted Metroid 4 and that this isn't going to be something that is super, it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. So no concern there. Matty F says, though, Xbox One X is definitely not going to phase Switch sales at all. LOL, no one wants to buy a 4K Minecraft machine.
And how true is this? 4K more prevalent than ever. Black Friday coming up, a lot of people are going to get 4K TVs for the first time, and maybe people want to play some 4K games on there. And you can call it a 4K Minecraft machine, but there's a lot of other games that are enhanced for 4K, including the newest Assassin's Creed, the newest Call of Duties, and Battlefront. Like, there's a lot of big games, so it's not like Minecraft is the only game you can play on it. Do I think that Xbox One X makes a dent in Switch sales? Maybe a little bit. I feel like they probably still sell really well. But can I say with 100% certainty that Nintendo's the top-selling console next month? Probably not. But what was the number of Xboxes that we like heard were sold? Like 80,000 or something like that?
Yeah, they had sold 80,000 completely sold through that they were really happy about.
And that's just One X by itself. There's a lot of really good bundles for One S, so that might help for like Black Friday stuff. Those are like $199 or something now. So the reason I feel like maybe Xbox could, again, make a little dent is because on top of the 80,000 One X's, you're going to have a ton of One S's that are sold because of Black Friday because they're so cheap. Nintendo Switch doesn't have any like cheap bundles or anything like that, so we'll see how that goes. After that, though, Mikrundas Letal, or Lethal, I don't know. I'll feel bad if Zelda doesn't win. It's the most amazing game I've played so far, and I've been gaming all my life. The game feels new and fresh even after 100 hours in, which just doesn't happen to me with Mario or any other recent game. PUBG is a buggy mess. Early access is a bug. Can't read. PUBG is a buggy early access. Horizon is a great game. Persona is one of the best JRPGs ever made. Mario is almost a masterpiece, but Zelda is the absolute masterpiece. I feel like Mario has more chances of winning just because of the name it has, though, and it makes me feel just a bit sad. By the way, great video, Switchforce. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And more Game of the Year talk here. I don't know how buggy PUBG is. I don't experience too many bugs, but, whatever.
I don't play it enough to know if it's buggy. I mean, yeah, this kind of just is like a good thought. I think it's something that like could be, it's just totally open to interpretation. For me, I don't know that the Mario name gives it more of a chance of winning. I would say that the Zelda name and the Zelda early release and how that was sort of so part and parcel with the Switch launch gives it more of a chance of winning. But I'm worried, like you, Gabe. I worry that PUBG is just going to win.
Yeah. I mean, which again, not the end of the world, so you can carry us on to the next one.
Alrighty, moving on to a man with the same mantle as mine. Zachary M says, I don't mean to be rude. It's always a dangerous way to start off a comment. But do you guys have any business knowledge at all? Please, read the Wall Street Journal. Nintendo ramping up Switch production to 25 to 30 million. There's a 100% chance that there's a reason they believe they can move that many consoles. Why? Pokemon, and at least one other major game. If I had to guess, a game like Animal Crossing, Yoshi, Kirby in the spring, summer, Pokemon, and Metroid in the fall. So Zachary here is taking the assumption that because Nintendo has increased their forecast so high, there must be a software reason behind that. His reason includes Pokemon and Metroid.
There's 100% chance. To me, that's funny. Well, what we've seen goes against what you say. And don't worry about sounding rude. It's okay. But to answer your question, do we have any business knowledge at all? We have as much as you do. We saw that Wall Street Journal report, so we know what you know. And I feel like if there was more Pokemon to see, we would have been shown it, right? We had someone writing, well, not just anyone, but the president of the company like writing on a like sketch pad or something. I don't think that a Pokemon game is coming next year. I mean, I'm sure we'll get a Pokemon game, but not the Pokemon game.
Yeah, I don't share Gabe's same philosophy. I think that just because they haven't shown a lot does not indicate anything to do with where they're at development-wise, or at least it doesn't have to. But I will sort of play contrarian to you, Zachary, and say that I don't think they necessarily need a Pokemon game. I think that Switch would still sell 25 to 30 mil without. I think that, obviously Zelda and Mario definitely anchored 2017, and assuredly there will need to be more tentpole titles like that to keep the momentum strong. But remember that every new Switch owner doesn't have Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart and ARMS and Splatoon 2. They have already set themselves up with such a strong lineup that it's more about spreading the Switch than it is necessarily driving with a major game. Now, again, a Pokemon game would push sales, and maybe they do plan on releasing something major in order to see this production jump. But I think that, nonetheless, as long as they have steady releases, the already established lineup is enough to continue the growth that Nintendo is enjoying.
I will say that I agree with him as far as they have one major game like that we don't know about. I don't think it's Pokemon. I think there's a higher chance of it being Metroid, although I don't think it's Metroid either. But Smash, maybe. Mm-hmm. To me, that makes a little bit more sense, especially if it does end up being a port. So I don't completely disagree with what Zachary says here. Maybe there is something big coming. It could be a new Super Mario Brothers. The 2D one, new Super Mario. Again, this is the second time I had to make that clarification.
Right.
Is it too soon since we just got Odyssey? Maybe, but it's like 2D, so that could... there's a lot that they can still do.
Well, and frankly, besides Pokemon, are any of these even system sellers guaranteed? Metroid in the past has not sold so well. Animal Crossing is popular. Kirby and Yoshi, like those games typically don't push a whole ton of units. So I know we're gonna get some comments that say like, "Oh God, the total sales of these franchises are huge," and I'm sure they are. But in general, I don't know that a Kirby game is going to make the Switch a 30 million seller.
No, I think he means Pokemon plus Kirby. Like, I think he means...
I mean, I think we're getting Yoshi and Kirby no matter what. Like, those are coming early next year as sort of filler games.
Absolutely, and Donkey Kong is even more likely. I don't know how much of a system seller that is anymore either, or that it ever was.
Yeah.
But, you know, Reggie had what I think was a slip of the tongue where he, like, mentioned Donkey Kong by name as far as, like, stuff that's coming, so... I don't know. I really, like, again, I would love to be wrong on these things, but I don't think we get Pokemon or Metroid. I've talked about that at length, so we can move on here.
Yeah, I think we get Metroid, but I think the system would sell even without. Anyhow, Super Mario Master
says, do you think they will ever show or release this car mount? What?
This is just a great comment.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were laughing at. Do you think they will ever show or release this car mount for the Nintendo Switch, which was shown in the first Nintendo at the Direct, where there's two people playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? It is like kind of like attached to the car seat. I've seen that trailer many times because I use it to edit footage sometimes. And do we think that we ever get that? Maybe. I don't know.
I wonder if it was more of like a conceptual idea, and then they were like, actually, this could cause a lot of problems and a lot of, like, you know, is Nintendo trying to support playing and driving and things like that? So they're like,
no, it attaches to the car seat. There's no way you can drive while playing that specific one.
I mean, I just wonder if in general playing in the car is something they were told to avoid, like from their like marketing legal teams.
It's possible, but I feel like it's perfectly fine for people sitting in the backseat, especially younger people that, you know, you're not driving anyways because you're a child.
I'm going to say that, no, we don't get this, though.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, I don't honestly don't have any opinion on this.
All right. Nathan Dodge says, Breath of the Wild definitely deserves the Game of the Year award more than anything. It not only redefined Zelda, but also set a new standard for all open-world games in the future for the better. And Nathan is... this comment again really references what I mentioned earlier of like, okay, what is Game of the Year? So for him, it's that it redefined an already existing series and then forwarded a genre. Does that make something deserving of Game of the Year?
I mean, maybe, but Breath of the Wild took a lot of elements from other games, other open world games. So I mean, redefining a genre. I don't know how much Breath of the Wild redefined a genre. Like, and I've heard that's a sentiment that I hear often. I just don't know how much of it
Well, he's saying it redefined Zelda and set a new standard for a genre.
Okay, sure, redefined Zelda. Yeah, it did that for sure. New standard for all open world games. Again, sure. If by that you mean, you know, this huge world that you can like go tackle it any like way you want, you can go straight to the final boss. You know, although I'm sure there's games that do that besides this, but I mean, you're not going to get any arguments from me as far as Zelda being a Game of the Year. I think it's fantastic. So,
moving along,
we have KJ Schneider. Says, this is your monthly Gabe Tangent Express coupon. Presenting this coupon during CommentForce grabs Gabe one free tangent of his choosing. Not redeemable with any other coupons, valid at participating locations only. I need more of these.
It's a monthly coupon, Gabe. Do you want to use it now or you want to save it for a different week?
I'm saving it for a different week.
All right.
Can I have more coupons?
I don't know, Gabe. One a month, Gabe. Let's not get greedy here.
You know me, and greed is good.
Were you one of those people that really like, you know, there's always like those punch cards like, oh, buy 10 smoothies, or like, oh, if you spend a bajillion dollars, you'll get $5 free. Like, did you do a lot of that, or do you do a lot of that?
You know me. Do you think I do a lot of that?
No.
No, I've never been the kind of, you know, go to Domino's 10 times because they give you a free. No, I don't care. Those
things to me are incredibly evil because the outward appearance is that, oh, they're so generous. Shop there. If you like it, you'll get free stuff. But to me, the seedy underbelly is that, like, hey, most people probably don't end up ever reaching the free stuff, but they are enticed and encouraged to shop there because of the potential for free stuff.
The funny situation is when like these like loyalty programs last so long, and this does not count as a tangent. The loyalty programs, sometimes they last so long that like, let's say Domino's, for instance, even though they still do theirs. Let's say it was 10. You don't go that often, but you know, you go 10 times throughout like 2 years or something. And then you go and you're like, hey, I got 10. And they're like, no, we don't do that promotion anymore. Like, those are like the weird ones.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Speaking of weird, Caleb M says, I love the random Taylor Swift plug, Zach. The end with y'all talking about pop culture should be its own segment.
we always have things about pop culture like to talk about, just because, like everyone else, we're so enamored by it and it's popular. Hence the
A number of people said that they would love a podcast where you just talk about whatever the heck we wanted.
Oh, you don't want that.
I mean,
it would be a lot
Gabe,
of it would be a lot of you and I screaming at each other.
not at each other.
Well, no, not at each other, but we disagree on a lot of things. We have opposing views. You like bad football teams, and I like great football teams, and
You don't even like football this year, so that would be a non-issue.
Yeah, no, not this year. This year you can have it.
Gabe takes the approach that since his favorite player is out, that football doesn't matter because if his team can't win, then it doesn't matter.
No, I take the approach that if you are not a Super Bowl contender, the season doesn't matter. There's no point. You lose. And once my man crush Aaron Rodgers is hurt, and we have a backup quarterback that's just not very good, and we're already not doing great in the season to begin with, chances are we're not going to the Super Bowl. Chances are I don't care. So that's my view.
A very fickle fan over there.
I'm not a fickle fan. I like no other teams besides Green Bay. It's
Gabe, you're gonna have a kid, and like, if you're not the number one student in this school, I don't even want to know you. If you're not the best on the basketball team, I don't even care.
I would be a fickle fan if I all of a sudden was like a Eagles fan just because they're doing good. Like, no, I still don't like the Eagles. I hate the Eagles, and that's not changing. I'm not just jumping on a bandwagon. I still like.
No, you're fickle because you don't support them in their down moments.
Oh, I support them, but what do you want me to do? It's a weird year for the NFL in general. There's a lot of stuff going on that clouds my view on the season in general, and it's a losing season. They have my support. I still bought like a hat. Yeah, I paid for merchandise. I gave them whatever little money I could. I paid for Sunday. I paid for Sunday ticket. I saw like the first maybe 5-6 games, and then the Aaron Rodgers things happened. I saw a couple games after just to see how things were going to shake out, but didn't happen. I don't think anyone cares about us talking about the NFL here. By the way.
Okay, well, fine. We'll nix my next question and save it for the non-existent, never-existing future podcast.
Ask the question. Is it a question?
No. Take us to Nathan's comment, Gabe.
All right. Nathan Lafferty. That's probably it. So there's absolutely no chance that we are going to get traditional Virtual Console on Switch. I would rather buy the handful of retro games that I want on my Switch for, let's say, average of $10 a pop, and have those games playable on my Switch forever, than have to pay $10 every month I want to play them. Also, there's no way that when the service comes up, it's going to have every game that's ever been released on a Nintendo console. I predict that what's going to happen is the service is going to start up with an underwhelming amount of games on it, then no one uses it because everyone is waiting for the better games to come out. Then Nintendo sees that there's no support for the service, so they stop developing for it, which means I am never going to be able to play Paper Mario Thousand Year Door while taking a damn it, Reggie. Here.
I mean, this is a dark painting of the future.
Can I say this?
It's entirely possible.
No, it's not. Can I say? Nintendo doesn't care if no one's supporting something. They still they're still gonna get behind it. Miitomo, for example, they still update Miitomo. No one plays Miitomo.
In Japan, they do.
Oh, okay, sure. In Japan, they do.
But, no, I mean, I think this is interesting.
Who really cared about Miiverse? And I know that
really a lot of people.
I know. There was a lot of fan service because it recently shut down. But during its life, I
think you should just bite your tongue, Gabe. You're insulting a lot of things that people probably
I'm not insulting anything. These things are all cool. If you love it, fantastic. And that's the other thing. I wish I could use my tangent coupon here, but I'm not going to. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean I hate you because you like it. I love everything and everyone. But I'm just saying, I don't foresee this happening in this way, Nathan, is all I'm saying.
I think it could happen. I don't think it will happen, but I could see, sort of the irregularity of how it's unveiled causing a lack of support, causing a lack of future. I mean, there's been plenty of good ideas that get off to a paltry start and then never really kind of find their footing. But I do hope that Nintendo handles this well, especially since it's been such a delayed release, especially since it's been held off for so long. They've had a lot of time to work, refine, redo, and hopefully release something that is really good. Now, Gabe, I want you to weigh in.
I was just gonna say, I'm surprised that you and I are in the minority as far as wanting the subscription service instead of the.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. After hearing these people's thoughts, so many people against the subscription, so many people wanting to just pay a one and done price for specific games. Has it changed your mind at all, or would you still rather pay for a subscription service where you don't own the stuff, but you get a wider selection for your dollar?
I'd rather pay the subscription, but again, I understand that I'm not like the normal like user.
Yeah.
We're fortunate enough that we're able to play so many of these games. So the amount of time that we have to go back and play Thousand Years Door, for example, like we don't have like that luxury like of time. So I'd rather pay for the subscription and like play it when we want to. Well, but although like the other way is not bad either. Like honestly, like I'm not gonna like feel very strongly about either one of these directions. Whatever they go in, I'll support how I can and when I can and however I'm able to. But for the most part, I think I do prefer the subscription. Don't kill me for that. That's just my opinion, and yours can be different. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think my sporadic nature of game playing definitely still puts me on the subscription side of things, and I also feel like the fact that these games are ownable in so many other forms, the fact that I have a Mario World cartridge, I have a Donkey Kong Country cartridge, owning it on the Switch versus subscribing to it on the Switch doesn't matter as much to me, and I'm not quite sure why. But I guess for my playing habits, sort of like you, Gabe, I think the subscription would serve me better. But it's super interesting to see how many people adamantly want to pay for each game individually and have some sense of ownership. I guess for me, that has never bothered me. And maybe that's a surprise to some people or an odd opinion. But not owning certain things or digital rights has never fazed me. I guess to me, things are very transient as is, and I probably won't care to play it in 10 years or you know what I mean. Like I don't know. Like I don't take away my Xbox Live Arcade games, take away my Virtual Console games. I get that I paid for them, but every time I pay for food, it goes away in 20 minutes or less. So
the example's a little different, but I mean I agree with you.
Sure, I know.
Like yes, I own like Rock Band 3 and the plastic instruments, but am I ever gonna play it again? No. So. Yeah, I'm like you. I don't have this like a need to like own everything, especially because there's no room for all this stuff. Like we've been buying games for so many years now that if we had like physically everything, we can't fit it. I mean, unless we have like these crazy houses. Like at some point, you're gonna have to just throw stuff away.
For sure, but we're never going to throw CommentForce away, so we'll be back next week with another show. Keep your comments, your questions, your queries, your theories, and your thoughts coming at us. This week we've got such fine things as Battle Chef Brigade and plenty more. We haven't looked at the release schedule. Stay tuned for Gabe's Monday video to know what the heck is coming out this week, because we sure don't. But I'm sure that there's some really good stuff.
Resident Evil.
There you go. In the meantime,
off the top of my head,
have a fantastic day, everyone. Have a fantastic week. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have, we love our wondrous community here, and we love all of you. So, closing wisdom from each of us. Gabe, go.
Do not eat your soup while it is too hot, because you may burn your tongue.
A burnt tongue is a terrible thing to take into a new week. So I definitely appreciate that one. And I'm going to give a little bit more of a sentimental comment and say that it's important to plan your dog's name years in advance because then you can envision a beautiful future and it will take away the pain from your previous loss, aka R.I.P. Kobe. We miss you.
Yeah, R.I.P. for real.
And with that lovely note, have a great week, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. For myself and good old Gabe. By the way, make sure to tune into Gabe's Garage, his weekly show where he teaches you about tools and trade, Mondays at 3:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern on channel 99.
Wait, no, we changed to your local PBS network.
Oh, local PBS network. Gabe also paints on Tuesdays as part of Bill's Barnyard. So we'll see Gabe there. We'll see you next week. Until that time, a fantastic day. Thanks again for myself and Gabriel. Switch Force, out.